Welcome to TSP Weekly. This is your tech startup podcast for Thursday, October 15th, 2015. Today we are recording at the Rotary Dream Home. Is that the official name of this place?
In Vista Hills.
Yeah, Rotary. So this is, you're going to hear a little bit about this. Well, Stephen can explain a bit about how this works, but there is a fundraiser lottery going on.
Yep.
And we are helping to promote that as part of our love for the things that this lottery is sponsoring and for our local community here. And they have graciously opened up this amazing home. It is indeed a dream home. I think I have dreamed about this home at one time or another. I just didn't realize it till I got
If I haven't, I will be from now on, I think.
Yeah.
So this is their 30th annual Rotary-sponsored Dream Home. Mm-hmm. It's valued at $1,013,880.
Wow.
47 cents. They probably rounded down.
It's very exact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically they're selling tickets.
Yes.
And it's a draw. So the grand prize draw happens December 14th. Mm-hmm. Final ticket sales, midnight, Sunday, November the 29th. And you can get a ticket for $100.
And where does one get a ticket?
You can go to kcrotaryevents.ca. They're only selling 20,000, and if you get more tickets, 2 for $175, 4 for $250.
Wow!
And not only are they giving away this beautiful home, but you get $10,000 to spend.
Really?
On furniture. And then there's a whole bunch of other prizes that you can check out. So go to the website. Most of the proceeds are going to the 3 local hospitals.
Right.
So they can they have some really cool plans.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm very excited. We had a little tour of the home before Stephen showed up, actually. The rest of us had a little tour of the home. And they have I don't know what you call that magic closet thing upstairs that it presses your pants.
The clothes steamer.
Yeah.
Clothes fridge.
Yeah. So it steams your clothes and keeps them, wrinkle free. And
below body
there's
temperature.
Programmable. It's like this Star Trek interface on the front of it. I don't even know what the thing's called.
The future is here.
Yeah, it's insane.
So basically, they whisk your pants off to Narnia.
I think so. And they come back neatly pressed.
I like it.
By fawns. Anyway, let's introduce ourselves and our guests. So first of all, my name is Darren Conley. I'm a local tech entrepreneur here in Kitchener-Waterloo. Joining me is my co-host, fellow tech entrepreneur Stephen Campbell. How are you doing today, Stephen? Good?
I'm not unwell, thank you. And I'd like to give a shout out to my father-in-law. Ralph is with us in the audience today.
Yes.
He flew all the way up from Florida.
Yep.
And boy, are his arms tired.
That joke never gets old.
No, it doesn't. I don't think I've used it this week. So.
We also have Elliot. I can't remember your last name off the top of my head. What's that? Branchley? Right. Elliot Branchley, who is representing the home, making sure that we don't walk off with any pieces of it, I think. There are tours going on through this home as we do this recording, so there may be people walking through. You don't have to tiptoe, folks. It's okay. And
I'm really glad I wore my good socks today.
That's right. And we're going to just count them as part of our audience as we record. We haven't had many studio audiences, so audiences.
Yep.
Yeah.
Audience eye.
So that's what's happening here. Let's introduce our guests. So joining us, we have Perry Everett, Graham Thomas, and Ben Rasera. Did I get all those names right, guys?
Yeah,
sounds good.
Yeah, and they're joining us from, now this is the one I'm going to mess up, Arylla.
You got it. Yeah,
Arylla.
that's
right.
Hang on.
I want to say like Arylla, but that's an actual
You wouldn't
city
be the
in
first.
Ontario.
It's a tendency for people to try and put an I between that L and
It's
A.
the Y. There's a Y in there, right? We want to make it a little more. Yeah, fair enough. Arylla. So how you guys doing? I mean, Arylla.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Doing great?
Yeah?
Good. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Now, you guys just did a name change. Some people might know you as Black Box Technologies. Is that right?
Yeah, we were Black Box for about
6 minutes?
at most 2 months. Yeah,
We were pretty much black box until we updated our LinkedIn profile and had to cycle through 9 different black box companies that
Apparently a
pre-existed.
popular name.
Yeah.
We also had someone tell us it reminded them of the black box people search for after plane crashes.
Right.
Not the ideal image for the company we were trying to start.
That's true, but it is like an indestructible box. Maybe you want to have
That's a good point.
This idea of your stability, but fair enough. So where does the name Arylla come from?
Arylla, well, we had always been told that to get a good name that you could secure the domain name for, and you knew it wasn't trademarked already, was to kind of invent a word.
Right.
So that was kind of the spirit that we had going into it. I think Arylla is really the etymology of it is aryl.
Okay.
So as an aryl chemistry, ARYL, which is kind of related to the to the stuff that we do.
Okay.
And so we popped an L and an A on there and called it our company.
Okay, cool.
That's cool. It's not like you took the word Waterloo and knocked off the first and last letters of it, like Arylla, who we interviewed before.
That's pretty clever.
There are many clever twists on naming that people are.
And you didn't drop
using
masculine and go into the jungle like they did on Pied Piper.
No.
Come back with a
Not that we didn't consider that.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So what do you guys do at Arylla? I mean, we had a little taste of what you guys did at the Velocity Fun Finals a few months back, but I don't think the podcast listeners know anything about you. Yeah.
So, in essence, Arylla makes materials that companies can use to tag their products so they can be authenticated later on, so down the distribution or down the supply chain.
Okay.
The problem is that a lot of companies find that it's a sort of a widespread problem, so it changes, the nature of it changes depending on what sector you're talking about, but essentially a lot of people are selling counterfeit versions of authentic products.
Right.
So like counterfeit Viagra or even counterfeit chemotherapy drugs too.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah, it's a more of a widespread problem than I think we had thought initially going into it.
Yeah.
I like how you put chemotherapy behind boners.
Yeah, that's
We know our
It's
market.
Very subtle.
the two things people are most concerned
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, exactly.
Cancer
Cancer and erectile dysfunction.
That's right. Yeah, I know, and I don't mean any stereotype when I say this, but I used to often drive to Toronto and go to Chinatown and look for cheap movies back when people used to still buy DVDs and stuff.
You were making me worried about where you're going with this one after I talked about boners.
Oh dear. But yeah, I mean, and that's kind of there's a reputation for China kind of being a hub for counterfeit products, and it's a big issue in the culture. But I mean, I'm guessing it happens everywhere. It's just the first thing I think of when I think of that. But how would a product like yours, and I'm still not exactly sure what your product is, but how does it help to let people know that this is an authentic whatever it is?
Right. So when our product is essentially what we develop is a material, and so the material can be encapsulated in an ink, or what we're currently working on is to put it in kind of a varnish.
Okay.
So basically, at the end of a manufacturing process, companies will be able to apply this on the surface of the product, and it gives off a fluorescent signature.
Okay.
So once you apply it to the surface, you can using our scanner, or using the scanner doesn't necessarily need to be ours, but a scanner that can basically read the fluorescence of our material, and then it'll tell you if it's authentic.
So you guys sort of have an ink or a soluble fingerprint that you're able to put onto products that you can then verify that this is an authentic product.
Exactly.
What do you mean by fluorescence? I think of fluorescent lights. That's
Aurora Borealis?
sure.
Yeah, along the same lines. I mean, basically, a fluorescent material is one that can change color under certain wavelengths of light.
Okay.
So, for example...
So when they shine the black light in the hotel room and they see
and you see things you don't want to see.
Of the past,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
It's a
exactly
good way to put it.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you manufacturing both the material as well as the scanner to detect the material?
Right now, we are focusing on the material. I think the plan later on would be to also do the scanner, although we have some opportunity to work with scanners that have already been developed. We don't really want to reinvent the wheel when it comes to scanner technology. So
yeah, sure.
we're exploring both avenues at this point. I think.
Is it a certain type of light, like ultraviolet or infrared or something that you use to see it? Or
It's kind of across the whole spectrum.
Oh, okay.
So the interesting thing about the material that we've developed is that it exhibits a sort of a changing property. So depending on the light that you shine on it, it'll give you a different response.
Gotcha.
And we're able to tune that. So each of our material actually has a different fingerprint, as you said. And then, so under different wavelengths of light, you can actually get the fingerprint or the signature out of it.
Okay. Now, you mentioned applying it like a varnish to a product. I would assume that different types of materials would interact in different ways with your material, right?
Yes.
It's going to have issues whether it bonds or not, or if it's
You don't want to varnish a Viagra pill?
Yeah, if if it gets on clothing, is it going to be the same as if it's on a piece of wood or a piece of metal, or do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually a common problem with a lot of fluorescent materials. The interesting thing that we can do is we can kind of protect it.
Okay.
So we all have backgrounds in nanotechnology.
We do.
And so, common thing, yeah.
I think when he said we, he meant the other half of the table from us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Royally.
Yeah. And we can essentially coat the surface of our material and protect it from the outside environment. So we preserve its properties without modifying it at all.
Okay.
Just modifying the fluorescence.
Gotcha.
So one of the things I saw that you guys talked about is that this is a biocompatible product.
Is.
So what is biocompatible or biocompatibility?
It's basically non-toxic. So you can ingest it, you can apply it on your skin. It's something that we don't use any heavy metals or any kind of toxic components when we're making our material.
Right.
And so it makes it very easy for you to use it in a bio-relevant context, like a pharmaceutical, for example.
Or I could just varnish some on Darren's forehead before each podcast,
Yeah.
take a quick picture, verify that is
make sure that it's
Darren.
Darren. Yeah.
Or if you weren't sure it's an authentic apple, could you spray it on an apple and still eat the apple?
You can't. We had that question before, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently apples are a big...
I should have picked pomegranates or something instead.
That's okay. A lot of Granny Smiths passing as a Macintoshes these days.
Fair enough. Yeah, you never know.
So that was one of my questions is,
Yeah.
what's the counter stuff you guys are finding out there? Is it mainly drugs, or I come from a food background, so fish was a big one. Like, this is grouper, ma'am, and it isn't. It's, just a different whitefish. So what are the big counterfeit things that are in the market that you guys see for some low-hanging fruit?
We, in terms
so to
of...
speak. Huh?
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think the more we look into it, this is really a problem that affects every industry. So from pharmaceuticals, I mean, even what, like you had said, the DVDs or the videos are being counterfeited, which is costing a lot of these major production companies a lot of money.
Yeah.
So any sector is really affected by this. Low-hanging fruit for us is something we're still kind of looking at.
Okay.
I think some of the things we are interested in particular are integrated circuits and checks. So financial documents that are forged or modified. That's kind of something we're looking into right now.
Could it be used in actual currency? Like, could you make a deal with the Canadian Mint for adding an extra layer of protection to cash?
It could potentially, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That might be worth
spray it
looking
on a Bitcoin.
I hear there's a lot of
The
cash.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear there's a lot of cash in working with the Mint. Is that a bad joke?
Oh, the stares you got from all of us. We were just in shock of the good gravity.
Maybe I needed to let it brew a little longer before I came out. I don't know.
Hey, keep coming back. Keep trying. Thanks for playing.
That's interesting. So, have you guys done any kind of testing with like potential customers or out in the field, or has it just been laboratory work so far, or how's it been going that way?
We've gotten some. We've made a few connections with some potential. At this point, I wouldn't call it customers, more like collaborators or partners that we're kind of working with.
Right.
Which gives us a good. It's nice to have someone who has a lot of experience in the field, because we are mostly academics at this point, I would say.
Sure.
So we haven't really had a taste of what it's actually like out there in the great big world.
Right.
Oh, it's yummy.
So yeah.
Delicious.
So potentially, if there are people listening to the podcast right now that are involved in an industry that could make use of your product, the door is still kind of wide open for them to contact you and
absolutely
explore possibilities.
Yeah, and we've had a few from our. We've had a little bit of media attention after the Velocity Fund finals, and people have sort of reached out, and it's been great because we get a lot of great feedback, and it also helps us design.
Can I just ask about nanotechnology in general?
Of course.
So I think you guys are the second nanotechnology startup we've had on the podcast. We had SunCare.
Yes.
Previously, do you guys
Rachel
you know
Balter.
those guys?
Yeah, we're friends with those guys.
Okay, awesome. And nanotechnology is such like a kind of sexy word. It's
a buzzword.
It makes you think of
Yeah.
the future and everything else. But when somebody gets into nanotechnology, what are they really getting into? Are you inventing new chemicals, essentially, at this point in nanotechnology? Are you inventing very tiny robots?
Are you just breaking stuff down into really small pieces?
Yeah. I think,
It's kind of more using those really small pieces to make slightly larger things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you take basically you take molecules and use them as building blocks for like supermolecular structures.
molecular Lego.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
molecular Lego. That's
It's
a really
molecular
good way to put
Minecraft.
it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
here's
Minecraft.
the biggest question that everybody's dying to know then. Herbal essence. Is it infused with those little microbeads? Does that stuff actually work?
The microbeads are a very touchy subject now, I think, because they're starting to be banned everywhere.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah. I think there's a bit of a problem with, actually, we learn about it in our program because we're in nanotechnology engineering.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of a problem with companies putting nano things into their products just to say that it's nano.
Right.
And so that can lead to some problems down the road. But I mean, it looks, like you said, it's sexy. You could say that it's infused with nano things.
Yeah, like I need Vaseline in my shampoo.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure why, but it just sounds
But you do.
slick.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I listened to a presentation on nanotechnology when I lived in the Middle East in Qatar. They would bring in these big, crazy, fancy speakers, and there was nothing else to do in that country except for go and listen to cool speakers talk. So a guy was talking about nanotechnology, and it was
check
all
out a
kind
woofer
of
or a tweeter.
that's true. It was all like carbon nanotubes kind of stuff, and this idea of exotic kind of metals, right? Like building cars out of materials that will repel dust and rain and things like this, and always stay clean and shiny. And I don't know, is that still kind of science fiction in the world of nanotechnology, or is this stuff that you guys talk about and work on when you're studying in this field?
I'd say it's pretty real. The only problem is it's hard to scale that sort of really advanced nanotechnology up to the scale of a car or some other similar application.
It's kind of funny to hear somebody say, when you're dealing with nanotechnology, it's all a problem of scale.
Yeah.
But, I'm on a roll today, huh?
Oh, yeah. Straight downhill. One of the things that I was interested in, guys, is like when you got a security thing based, right?
Yeah.
So there's some proprietary discovery there. Are you guys looking at a patent at all, or?
This was a big discussion for us.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on that.
And initially, we were looking into the patent stuff. We all educated ourselves on, as much as you can in like 6 months on patent law and what to do and what not to do.
That sounds super exciting.
Oh man,
Super expensive.
I never slept so much in my life.
Sure.
And we came to the conclusion that we were going to keep it a trade secret.
Okay.
Which was, I think, we looked at some of our like future competitors, and they were kind of doing that.
Yeah.
And we also just thought of it from a counterfeiter's point of view. I mean, at least for us, because we all have pretty good backgrounds in research.
Yeah.
And so whenever you want to do something like someone else, the first thing you do is you try and find what patents they have under their name.
Right.
Because it's a blueprint to what they're working on.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to give counterfeiters the blueprint to our ink.
Right.
So that leads right into my next question is then you guys talk about reverse engineering a bit, and that you can't do that. So is that because of the inherent nature of it? Like you can't reverse engineer a fingerprint? You can, but then they're all different anyway?
Yeah. Can we not just take a very powerful microscope and look at your material and be like, oh, that's how they made it?
And then call China and be like, I'd like 17 gallons of this stuff?
Yeah.
There's a combination of reasons why we think it's impossible to reverse engineer. One of them being because we've so the varnish plays more of a role than we sort of lead on to.
Okay.
There are things in the varnish that sort of conceal our material, so it makes it very hard to look at it using any kind of scientific instrument.
Right. You have to use the power of the mind.
Exactly.
I thought you were going to say the internet.
No, possibly the internet. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then it's also the nature of the material, as you had kind of mentioned. It's an inherently difficult to reverse engineer. In fact, when we make the material ourselves, it took us a long time to be able to even
figure out what you had.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for I think 4 months or so, we had done things, and we saw the fluorescence, so we knew it was there.
Yeah.
But we couldn't actually break it down or like see it under any kind of microscope.
Sure.
So that was sort of a green light for us because we can't even see it.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, actually. I mean, you make something that does what it's supposed to do, but it's so secret that even you can't figure out what's going on in there.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, listen, guys, we're going to take a quick break here and put in our spot for Igloo. So Igloo Software is our sponsor for the podcast, and they very generously help us make this happen every week.
Yep.
So we do have some new footage we recorded with Igloo. I haven't got around to editing it together quite yet for the new sponsor spot. So if you're a long-time listener, you'll recognize this one.
There's singing and there's dancing and there's fruitcakes.
All kinds of new characters. I wouldn't call them fruitcakes. They're very nice people.
No, I was thinking about the baking.
Oh, the actual fruitcakes. Yeah, okay.
Like Long John Eclairs and a lot of food.
There was. So anyway, listen to this old Igloo spot and we'll have some new ones for you sometime soon.
I actually left Igloo for a while and came back because you get the sense of family, the sense of working as a team.
It's a really inspiring place to work. People can be who they are when they're in the building, and we're all working together for a common goal.
It gets a little crazy at times.
I have a very, very large collection of rubber ducks.
My first day, out of nowhere, I just got shot by so many Nerf guns. I mean, we get beer every other Friday. There's nothing wrong with that.
You could be here for a few weeks, but if you have a great idea and we think it'll work, we'll run with it.
Where you can go forward and pursue your own dreams.
They're empowered to do their job. Our culture is all about team.
It's really great, and it's something that you kind of strive for in a company.
If you have a great idea, we're going to implement it. That's why people love working here.
Igloo! Did you get that?
All right, and we're back. We should take the time to mention at this point, by the way, since we are recording here in the Dream Home, we have generously been given 2 free tickets for the draw, and we are giving them away to 2 lucky listeners who will fulfill the following requirements to the best of their ability.
Stand up, straight, chest in, feet together. What are the requirements?
Oh, I was just waiting for you to keep going, actually. Oh, yeah. First of all, you need to be a resident of Ontario. So you need to be over 18. So if you're listening outside of Ontario, or if you're a youngster, or both.
Move here or grow up.
Yeah, or both. We are asking, what we really need on the podcast is more feedback from you guys and more opportunities to post videos of other people on our YouTube channel. TSP Weekly does have a YouTube channel. If you haven't found it, you can go onto YouTube and search for TSP Weekly, and we're there. All the podcasts are up there. But what we would like is for you, our listeners, to record a video of yourself talking about, 1, what you like best about TSP Weekly, and 2, something you think that we could do better. And post your video on YouTube and send us a link to that video. You can send it to us by email or through our Twitter account. We'll announce those things at the end of the podcast. And at the end of, I don't know, a few weeks from now, yep. We're going to pick our 2 favorite listener feedback videos, and each of you will get 1 free ticket. As long as you meet the criteria.
Yeah, so a resident of Ontario, 18 or older, and there's only 20,000 of these tickets being sold.
Yep.
So a pretty good chance there's some early bird drawings that are happening as well.
Yeah, as far as we know, each ticket is eligible for 2 early bird draws, and then your ticket goes
grand final
back in the pool again, for the big draw at the end. So,
so there's some money in those early bird drawings, some other stuff, all kinds of... Go to kcrotaryevents.ca.
If you want more information.
You can find out all kinds of stuff there, yeah.
And I think the tickets are actually valued at like $70. Is that right, Elliot? $100. $100 each, these tickets. So look, when we give you free stuff, we give you the good stuff.
Nice.
Technically, they could end up being worthless, but hopefully you get something good out of it.
We are giving you hope.
Yes, that's right.
Potential.
Hope. So getting back to our guests, just to remind you all, we are here talking with
Perry, Graham, and Ben.
Perfect.
From not Arylla.
No.
But Arylla.
Arylla.
There it is.
Steven, it's almost as if you have this stuff written down in front of you.
Yeah, it is. It is almost like that.
It took me a while to bring it up on my screen. Yeah, guys. So listen, we've heard a bit about the product. Let's talk a little bit about how you guys came together. You said you're all in the same program. You're all in nanotechnology. So is it a stupid question to ask how you all met?
How'd you form the band?
Yeah.
Well, we all in first year. So Perry's from Canada, Graham's from Waterloo, and I'm from BC. So
What's Canada?
Canada, it's a suburb outside of Ottawa. It's actually Carp. I say Canada because it's more of a landmark. I guess not. But
it sounds like you're mispronouncing Canada.
I know. It's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
No worries. Yeah, we were so we all went to first year here, and we ended up in the same residence. We were living at Conrad Grable University College.
Right.
And pretty much through our program, we were all in the same program, living together. We just became friends.
Love it.
Gotcha. Yep.
I would say proximity. Probably proximity.
And love. Yeah.
It's crazy how many partnerships get formed because you happen to be nearby somebody else.
I know.
At some point in time, right? Crazy. Okay, so you all started hanging out together, and then one day you're like, let's invent a fluorescent material, or how did that happen?
Well, this one kind of, because of so in engineering, you have to do a 4th year design project, which is sort of a way to, it's like supposed to be the culmination of your undergraduate experience.
Right. Prove it to us. You've been here for 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Show us what you got.
Yep.
This is what I learned.
Yeah, pretty much. And so we started to think about ideas and problems, and I think we spent months whiteboarding ideas. Some of them were terrible.
Do you feel like sharing any of the terrible ones?
Oh, okay, let's see. One of them, something. Sorry? There was one where we thought that you would we designed something, a pill you would take, and then it would change your urine color if you had something wrong with you.
So it's maybe like an STD or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is we never really knew what would be wrong with you, just that your urine would go from like yellow to blue or something.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe the thing that's wrong with you is your urine is not blue.
Exactly.
Yeah,
consult your physician. Yeah. Darren's been working on a fart app that might sound similar.
There you go.
Yeah.
When we say been working on it, we mean we bring it up in conversation occasionally. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah,
yes.
What other ones did we have? Some of them were even worse than that, I think.
The peanut sensor wasn't bad.
The peanut sensor.
Peanut allergy?
Oh.
Peanut allergy, yes.
Yep.
So,
not the allergy, the allergen. So looking for like peanuts in food.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So before you eat it, you could test your food and see.
So you're not testing peanuts?
No.
Because you know.
We're pretty sure that they're
There's probably peanuts in peanuts.
Yeah.
9 times
This
out
is
of
true.
10.
Yeah.
90% sure there's a peanut in this
It's
peanut.
true.
Yeah.
5 out of 6 doctors agree.
How would something like that work? You dip it in a solution and the solution changes color?
It was basically a chemistry experiment that these people would have to do. So it's we envisioned it as being like this kit you carry around with you, and then you sort of put the food in the thing, shake it up. If it changes color, don't eat it. Kind of thing.
You ever tested pool water for like chlorine content?
I haven't personally done it, but I've seen it done. Yeah, sure.
Very similar.
Enough. Run it through a centrifuge, and no, I'm just kidding.
There's only a couple really important questions that we ask on each podcast. So here's another one of them. Let's talk about what you guys wear when you're being scientists. You guys have like cool white robes and
the lab coats. I think it's lab coats.
Yeah, lab coats. They start off white.
The chefs, celebrity chefs have gone to crazy stuff now. So are you guys scientists kicking it up a level yet with the lab coats?
I personally think my long hair really contributes to the mad scientist.
Right.
Sort of look. I tend to let it down when I do experiments. I don't actually. That's really unsafe.
Then you get hair. That was a quick pivot there.
Yeah, exactly. For the University of Waterloo people listening, I do not let my hair down.
So do you guys actually dress into your lab coat and be like, okay, it's lab time versus sort of startup time when you're out marketing or doing other things? Or
Yes. Yeah.
I think you got to wear the lab coats all the time. Like, it just adds the credibility, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, when you're doing the marketing, this is what I'm saying. Like,
I see.
Especially for pictures and stuff.
That's right. Exactly. We are scientists, therefore believe us. Our product is awesome. Go out and buy it. You don't have to use
I would have felt a lot more comfortable when you guys were spraying the nano ink on Darren this morning if you were wearing lab coats.
I'm still not sure if I'm really me.
It's an element of comfort to it.
Yeah, it's true.
I think, the lab coat, safety glasses. Occasionally you have to wear certain types of gloves.
Sure.
Very exciting stuff. Yeah.
Excellent.
So is there any danger to any of these chemicals? Like they're acids or like at any point that they convert? I know it's biocompatible. But
yes. We don't. So the material itself is completely benign, where we make it with completely benign compounds. So nothing acidic, corrosive, basic.
Right.
Actually, it's stuff that you find in food already.
Perfect.
But sometimes when we were feeling, because a certain part of our company still is like discovery based.
Yeah.
R&D.
Yeah, exactly. So every once in a while we'll.
I wonder what'll happen if.
Exactly. Yeah. That's half the fun of it, really.
So let me ask you this question, also not really related to your product, but to nanotechnology. Well, how realistic is that gray goo scenario with nanotech? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
Have you heard of this? So this is the idea of creating like self-replicating nanobots that if you don't put enough safeguards, they'll just transform all of the matter on the planet into their own thing.
This was a movie with Johnny Depp, wasn't it?
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's related to the idea of the singularity, which I think that movie was about. But yeah. Do you don't talk about that in class? Nanotech
we don't.
Class?
I
No?
feel like
Can you just reassure Darren that it's okay?
Everything will be okay.
Okay, good.
I don't think, at least at this point in time, I've never seen anything like that being done on a lab scale. I'm sure 100 years from now we'll have a lot of interesting discussions around things like that.
More stuff to fear.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Okay, so for now, my fears do not need to.
Yeah,
I think well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever hugged a man in a lab coat, Darren?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's comforting though.
Yeah. Makes you think everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. A couple pats on the back from a scientist. That'll last you weeks.
Science got you. You're good.
We got your back.
Awesome. Getting back to like the formation of the group and the company. So how long have you guys been working together then on this particular project? When did the genesis for what used to be Black Box and is now Arylla come to be?
Well,
10 months?
10 months, yeah. So we started the company, I guess, in December.
Right.
Of last year.
Right.
Well, that's the nearest December.
Sure.
Yeah, and it was based on something that I had worked on a bit in my co-ops. So in Waterloo, you have, co-op placements where you do work for 4 months or 8 months at a time.
Yep.
And it was basically done through like a little bit of discovery work that I had done then, but I didn't really know what to do with it.
Gotcha.
And then I brought it to these guys, and we figured out a practical application.
The business you were doing the co-op with, doesn't own any of the IP, like in that discovery process?
No, I actually was doing a co-op with a professor on campus.
Okay.
And so I've worked for him for all of my co-ops, or worked with him for all of my co-ops, and so we're pretty... We have a fairly good relationship, so I brought it up to him right on the offset, and he said it was fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It wasn't related to anything we were doing at the time. So.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. What's the long-term plan for monetization? You guys just going to try to sell it, or are you going to try to license it to like Intel to spray on their chips, or have you thought that far out yet, or?
I think
how are we all going to become millionaires with nanowave?
And when we say we all, we mean you guys, because we know nothing about this stuff.
We'll be your testers.
Yeah.
Long-term plan, I think the model is still to sort of sell it on a per batch basis.
Yeah.
So basically, it makes it easy for us because we can manufacture, let's say, 20,000 gallons of the ink that has the same signature.
Yeah.
And then that has, we can't reproduce that ink again. So basically, once that ink is made, we scratch that recipe to never be made.
Gotcha.
Again, so basically companies would come to us and ask, order a new batch of ink every time they run out, or they could even try and do it for each product line. So a certain ink corresponds to a certain product of theirs.
Yeah.
So you can actually identify
batches.
Yeah, you can identify the product itself as well as whether it's authentic.
Sure.
Right.
And they can use that in like forensics when they're like, this product was manufactured or whatever. No, it couldn't have been because the batch wasn't made until this year, and then blah, blah, blah.
Right? And a lot of chips are like that. Like you can see where it was made, what factory it was made in,
and
what year, or what month in what year. And so you can isolate
and I think that's the long-term goal, is to try and embed more information than just a simple yes, no. But to give companies the ability to have this, reverse engineer proof way of having their customers figure out when, where, how this thing was manufactured.
Because a lot of the information that are on chips right now, they can still tell you that like batch number and date of manufacturer and all that jazz. Mm-hmm. But it's pretty easy for the counterfeiters to look at that chip and copy all of that down for their products. Mm. And so with our stuff, the counterfeiters wouldn't be able to finish that last step of varnishing the product with our ink.
Because you guys can't even actually make the same ink twice, right?
Yeah.
Let alone somebody who's never invented the stuff in the first place.
Exactly.
That's very interesting. You had mentioned mixing up a batch of like 20,000 liters or something of this stuff. Like, is that amount a doable amount with the facilities you have access to right now, or are you thinking like way down the road?
This is like 5-10 years down the road.
Okay, fair
with
enough.
The facilities we have access to, I would say we're looking at. I mean, even a liter, I think, is pushing it a little bit.
I think we could probably scale the liter scale.
You guys need a bigger cauldron.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
More witches.
Bigger cauldron.
Yeah. We could be witches.
Could hire some witches. There's witches for hire, I'm sure. There's a website for that.
Halloween's coming up. Yeah,
that's right. Oh, how do we get on these tangents? Fair enough. So we've covered monetization. We covered how you guys got together. Now we saw you guys pitch at the Velocity Fund. You won some money there? Yes?
Yeah,
No?
we did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
We brought home $25K from that one.
Nice. With a big novelty check?
Yes.
Oh, it was great.
Did you get to haul that into the bank and be like, could I cash this?
We almost did. And then actually, I think it was...
Somebody talk sense into you?
Yeah, it was Rachel from Suncare, I think, who was telling us that she tried that once and it didn't work out.
She's gotten a bunch of novelty checks.
Yeah, exactly. Take it from the pros.
Now, if it had some nano ink on it, you could verify that was an authentic.
Yeah, it's a real check.
It's our first market.
So you got some money, and are you guys kind of doing this as your full-time gig now? Like, or are you still finishing school? Are you still like doing a day job plus this on the side, or what's going on with that?
We're all still in 4A of the now engineering.
Okay.
So we
for those who don't attend the university, what does that mean?
That means we have about 6 months left.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So after that, we're all planning on pursuing it full time for a while.
Awesome.
We might diverge into master's degrees, and so I think some of us are thinking about medical school.
Right.
But
yeah, you don't want to be distracted by just frivolous stuff.
Yeah. Don't let medical school distract you guys. This is your $1 billion product. Right here. Have you guys talked at all with like VCs or like possible investors? Like, has that conversation happened yet? Or
we've been very fortunate to have the Velocity program on campus really covers most of our overhead expenses.
Okay.
And so for the foreseeable future, I don't think we have much. Until we reach the point where we need to scale, we don't have a whole lot of reason to look for a lot of capital from other people. So we're hoping to keep it without venture capital or even angel capital for as long as we can, and then search for whatever we need to.
We'll throw you $40 for 10%, right?
Sure. And you know,
you got 20 on you there?
Like honestly, I actually don't. I think that if you found some customers who are willing to pay you a bunch of money for what you are now able to produce, right? Mm-hmm. Even if it's not in gigantic mass quantities, and then who needs investors if you can get paid customers?
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah,
I think the plan is, the short-term plan is to try and get someone to kind of grandfather us into the industry a little bit, like beta test our technology with somebody.
Yep.
And then hopefully get a little bit of credibility and then kind of baby steps from there.
Although I would hope that graduating from University of Waterloo in nanotechnology would offer a certain level of credibility in and of itself.
Yeah, you're on the runway and you're in the airplane.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like saying I went to Harvard. People are like, yeah, okay, you went to Harvard, but what can you do?
Yeah.
Like usually the one is enough. But yeah, okay, fair enough.
It gets your foot in the door, I would say.
Yep.
If nothing else, it's definitely an introduction.
Absolutely. Okay.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Steven? I didn't actually mean for the lightning round sound. I was just looking over, but
you raised your eyebrow.
We've got to get our hand signals down or eyebrow signals down a little bit better. But hey, why not? We can move into the lightning round.
Shall we?
Before we move into the lightning rounds, guess what? Another commercial, guys.
This is awesome.
Oh, hold on.
Is that our commercial sound?
I think that was my wife, or possibly my mother-in-law. Actually, we'll just give a little behind the curtain. I don't know, insight for our listeners here. Usually, before the podcast starts, we tell all our guests, "Please shut off your mobile phones." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I better shut off my phone." I always forget, and today I actually really did forget, and I apologize. But
you're up to 30 push-ups after the podcast already.
I think so. And just in time for us to move into our final commercial segment. So we have the Waterloo Code Fest coming up.
I like to call it the City of Code.
Yeah, I think we have a blooper of you calling it that.
Yes.
Somewhere. Yes. We'll release that at some point. Waterloo Code Fest, we'll let the spot speak for itself, and we'll see you on the other side.
My name is Sarah McMullen, Director of Emerging Technologies.
I'm Mars Gerson, and I run Hacker Nest in town. I also work at Magnet Forensics.
Raj Sayan, I'm the Business Development Specialist for the City of Waterloo.
Code Fest Waterloo.
Code Fest Waterloo.
Code Fest is our first annual hackathon that we're doing.
It's pretty cool.
October 24th to 25th at CG.
We want to host the hackathon to be able to release our open data, let everyone know that it's available and it's theirs. and for them to code a mobile application for us to be able to use for the community.
I'm really pumped because I get to be a judge and see what the cool creations are that come out of this.
I'm judging from my Hacker Nest side.
His Worship Mayor Jaworski will be judging.
Some people call me the tech mayor.
Very non-threatening people, so the participants don't need to worry.
We have lots of data here.
Building permit data.
There's active transportation data sets.
Cemetery data.
There's trail maps.
Parking infraction data.
Parking infractions I'm interested in personally, just to see where to avoid parking.
Also, I'm a cyclist, so if they can come up with better ways to bike the city, I'd be happy.
What would people expect to be doing when they're at CodeFest?
People drinking a lot of caffeinated beverages.
You hunker down, you stare at your computer, and you just hack the crap out of that.
BlackBerry does have a very heavy presence in our swag bags. I will just leave it at that.
That's all I will disclose right now.
It is a 36-hour event.
Saturday, October 24th at 8 a.m. until Sunday, October 25th at 8 p.m.
Go to waterloo.ca/CodeFest. That's where you're going to find all the information. It's going to be fun, and we're looking forward to it.
So really looking forward to checking that out. Data sets, city,
cemetery data,
all kinds of stuff.
Find out who's dead.
Yep, who's speeding, who's building permitting,
where not to park.
All kinds of stuff.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yep. Ben and Graham are tittering over there. They're so excited about it.
Absolutely. It all makes sense when you listen to the final podcast. So the lightning round. The lightning round is when we throw a bunch of questions out at you guys, kind of faster questions. I think the name kind of explains most of it. But anyway, we'll toss some questions at you guys and see how you do. Do you want to start?
So here in Canada, we just had Thanksgiving weekend. Thanksgiving was on, Monday?
Sounds right.
So my first question for you guys is, finish this sentence. I am thankful for...
my friends and family.
Ooh, you went with the good old road answer. I like that. And he took it away for your friends over here. So now what do you guys...
Our job got a lot harder.
You're going to go for that one too? Or?
I think I'm thankful for Alberta steak.
Alberta steak.
That's a good response.
Is it genuine Alberta steak?
It is. Well, not this past Thanksgiving, but before that, I visited my sister in Calgary.
Okay.
And so for Thanksgiving dinner, we had garlic mashed potatoes and asparagus and Alberta steak, and it was...
Wow. Strip loin or New York or filet or
the probably 2-inch.
The big chunk of meat.
Big chunk, yeah.
They put in the plate. Yeah.
Baseball sticks.
Wow.
Incidentally, I know you still have to answer, but I'll just say real quick. There's all this controversy. You guys just made me think of it about the Kobe beef in Japan and whether it's authentic or not.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about your product. There's another application, right?
Yeah.
Talk to the Kobe beef
cows.
folks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I think I'm thankful for the fact that it's not yet full-blown winter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The colors are beautiful out here.
Yeah.
Reds and oranges and yellows.
It's nice. We have a little fountain out the back of this house.
I like to call that a water feature.
Water feature?
Feature's not,
It's not quite big enough to be a fountain, but
right.
Okay.
It's very calming. It's sort of a meditative,
I feel calmer just looking at it right now. Yeah.
I'm going to use
great.
Arylla as my mantra.
For calming. My question for you guys is, what are your hidden talents? Something that you guys are really good at that we might not know.
I think one thing is Perry and I make a pretty mean dodgeball pair.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's true, actually.
Wow, I just had a flash of science coats, lab coats, and headbands. Pretty interesting.
Fair enough.
Well, you should see Perry. He has a bandana that keeps his hair in check.
Oh, right. That's important in dodgeball.
Full Rambo.
There it is.
That's cool.
There's also gene cutoffs that sometimes get thrown into the ring.
Okay.
Wow, so it's
got
dangerous a bit.
It's a really important game. Yeah. We don't joke around.
High stakes.
Yeah.
Okay. Dodgeball, any other
I make
talents?
some mean chocolate truffles.
Chocolate truffles.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can attest
I've
to
never
that.
had those.
Yeah.
I should.
I think you have.
Oh, okay. Well,
Liar.
I'll have to have them again.
You must not have. They didn't give
They
me
were
a
clearly a
chocolate
very
version.
strong memory.
So I'm going to turn into a genie for you guys.
You always have a genie question.
I love the genie question, right?
Okay.
So this week's genie question is, I'm going to solve your biggest problem. Do you know what your biggest problem is? And can you articulate it to the genie?
In terms of the startup, not personal life necessarily.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you have a boil that's been bothering you,
really personal.
the genie can't help you.
Right.
I think I would like the genie to only let me get twice the time in a day than everyone else does, or us.
I would like that too.
40, yes.
Selfish?
I'll extend it to you guys.
Thanks, Barry.
48 hours
We are
in a
so
24-hour
grateful.
period.
So speed you guys up to double speed or slow
Exactly.
everything down?
One of the two.
No,
I remember there was
efficiency.
one movie where the guy had a watch and he was able to move like double time or something.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Ben 10?
That'd be good too.
Like an interstellar
Good
type
too.
thing too, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Just not click. That ended poorly.
Yeah, nothing with that.
Nothing with the remote
Just got
control.
sad.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you guys, anything?
I think it'd be great if the Genie could let me sleep, say, 2 hours a night and
Okay.
feel well rested. Because
Okay.
like the,
Oh, yeah.
I don't do as much anymore, but in like early undergraduate, those all nighters, you just discover how much time you waste.
Yeah,
every
fair
night.
enough. I think. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just think the Genie could make it so that all my meals were just ready when I was wanting to eat, and I didn't have to do any of that myself.
I think it's awesome that
That'd be
you
nice.
guys are all about like increasing efficiency, right? and it's a lot of startups when they answer this question. It's the same thing. Like we want to be more efficient, like do more on less sleep. Don't have to worry about cooking. No, it's
We have some advice for you. You can check out Yummer or Rasera.
Yeah,
for your dietary needs.
I saw the Rasera podcast actually.
Yeah,
oh, did
I checked out the website. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they got some good stuff going on. All right, my question for you guys is: what is one startup skill that you guys, as a team, need to get better at?
Probably business.
Yeah,
that's a pretty broad topic, but I think,
business as a whole. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. I think we all come from pretty technical backgrounds, and so the business has been a bit of a learning curve for us. A lot of textbook readings, Wikipedia searches,
right? Going through patent law.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at business from a scholarly perspective, as opposed to
it's
trenches
very
perspective.
different.
Right?
Yeah,
yeah.
That would be my answer to that one. I think.
Yeah.
I hate networking.
Oh,
with a passion. Man, I don't like that stuff.
Hang out with us, bro.
I love that you can be so honest about that. I hate networking.
Oh, it's awful. I hate like
that's such a big part of startups. Yeah,
you're talking to people, and like within 5 minutes, they say, "Oh, what do you do?" And you start telling them, and then you kind of this look on their face, and it sort of is like, "Oh, this guy is not useful to me. Like I can gain nothing from him." And so you're kind of standing there, and you're like, "Well, I'm just gonna walk away then." Okay.
You know, Ben, you've come to the right place because we have another thing for you. It's called TO. It's This Is Your Out. They were on the podcast, and you basically press a button, and it calls your cell phone, and you can get out of any uncomfortable situation.
Fantastic.
I don't think they actually manufacture though, because the startup campaign, the Kickstarter didn't
pan out.
hit its mark.
But they're on our podcast, so go listen to them. It's pretty good. It was a
Yeah.
while ago.
Interesting.
You can dream of
I'll
it.
look back through that.
I just gotta say, like, I've been to so many like networking events in the startup world and I have a startup of my own, right? So when people ask you, "Oh, what do you do?" Like, there's always a part in the back of my mind. It's like, "Oh, damn it, I got to go through the pitch again," right? And you're right. Like with certain people, you just see their eyes kind of glaze over like 10 seconds into it. If they have no interest and they know there's no connection, and you're like, "But I still got to finish the spiel."
Yeah.
So you finish the thing, and then you find a polite way to like move on, right?
Yep.
Like, anyway. Awkward.
It's usually finger sandwich. There's usually free food at those events, though.
There is. That's half the reason to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pardon me while I stuff my face.
That's right. Yeah, usually you say, "Oh, I gotta go grab a drink," or like,
Yeah.
take care, man." Yeah, fair enough.
Or have you tried these duck balls?
Bring it
Gotta
back.
love the duck balls. Whose turn? Is it your turn?
Sure.
Your turn. Yes.
Guys, if you could, real quickly, this is a preface to this question. Pick a number between 1 and 20.
13.
Okay.
4.
15.
Okay, so we're going to time warp ahead 13, 4, and 15 years. Where are you guys at? What's happening with Arylla?
Oh, man.
I wish I picked one.
Yeah, exactly.
One.
I see what you did
for
there.
food.
I think 13 years from now, I would like to see Arylla. If everything goes well, I think it would be nice to have sort of our own manufacturing facility, shipping out batches of ink at a time. Hopefully, moving. I would like to at least be working in one market and like growing into another one slowly, maybe like going from electronics to pharmaceuticals or something like that.
13 years is enough time. You could have moved into several markets, I think.
Yeah,
potentially.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Somebody we know that's quite famous told us it takes 5 years to build a business, 10 years to build a brand.
There
So
you go.
13 isn't too far outside of that.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, that's
just on the
right.
cusp.
Yep.
13 and 15 might be a bit similar, so maybe we should just do
I wonder
like-
what Ben's gonna say.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
So what are you going to say, Ben?
Well, I was actually going to say is that one of our we've sort of thrown this around a little bit was actually after a while maybe it gets sold off, we get our exit from Arylla in some way, shape, or form, and then we use that money to start some type of nano hub where we just invest in our own research and kind of do the stuff that we want to do in addition to our work with Arylla.
I thought you were going to say like start some sort of like animal shelter or a home for orphaned, guinea pigs or something.
Yep.
But yeah, anyway.
We've talked about that as well, only with a coffee shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And pizza.
And
coffee
pizza.
shop and pizzeria.
With guinea pigs.
/ bakery.
With guinea pigs, yeah.
The thing to do in town here is like open your own microbrewery. That's what a lot of people are doing.
It's all the rage these
right?
days.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about like, was it 5 years? Yeah.
4.
4 years, right.
So just shy of a business. I think in 4 years, we'd want to have gone through that process that Perry mentioned of being grandfathered in by another company, maybe really starting to stir up the waters and getting more renown around the, like, say, IC chips that we were looking at.
Yep.
And I think really starting to become a company on our own that's not shepherded in by some grandfather, but we can contact and sell our ink directly to whoever wants it.
Sure. And hire some like business guys to
Yeah,
take care
that'll
of the
help
business
too.
stuff for you, right? Yeah.
Lighten that load.
Awesome. I guess it's my turn, right? I'm going to ask a stupid question. What's your favorite kind of party? Like toga party, Halloween party,
murder mystery
homecoming
diner party.
Yeah,
I've never been to one.
Escape from the room.
That's very specific.
Yeah.
I think a LAN party for me.
LAN party?
Yeah.
Oh,
get
answered
together.
like a true geek. Yes.
Exactly. There's nothing better.
I know what that is.
LAN party?
Yeah.
So everyone brings their like PCs into the same room, and you network them all together, and then play games against each other.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah.
Or do research together.
Or work.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys? Anything else?
Well,
no idea.
I haven't partied in a while. Let's see.
Either as Darren by his obvious toga party.
Any party I'm invited to is the party I want to do.
I like parties, like I guess house parties. We have sort of like maybe have a few friends being the band,
right?
Kind of playing the music. You throw in a few costumes and got yourself a deal.
Costumes for who? The band or
everybody?
The people there? Is it Halloween or
dress up in black tie?
Oh,
sure.
It's a black tie house party.
All right, perfect. That actually sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Hey, be there at 7:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'd probably go with nice formal gala. That just sounds lovely.
Ooh, a gala? Of course you would.
Yeah. Like big party.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd have water features, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh, fountains maybe even.
Fountain.
We break into fountain. Yeah.
Nice.
Full on fountain.
Full on fountain.
Ice sculptures.
And ice sculptures. Well, maybe a fountain with ice sculptures around it.
Wow.
Yeah. Or
Incorporate
one
the two together.
giant ice sculpture fountain would be great. Yeah.
Ice sculptures are great because they're a testament to the lack of permanence in life, right?
Wow.
As the sculpture melts over time, you can philosophically contemplate,
That's intense.
This is very deep.
mortality.
Yeah, really crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You're down to 15 push-ups now.
Now you
just
get
took 15 push-ups off for you.
You see how I tailored this stupid question into something deep?
Perfect.
Yeah.
And now I have this image of Graham and Perry in their dodgeball outfits encased in ice.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
A monument to us.
So you guys have sold your company. All I want for Christmas is... What are you going to buy with your millions?
Or possibly billions.
I have no idea. I've never even thought. I guess maybe like take family and friends on a vacation somewhere. Probably
Go some travel.
Yeah,
travel.
Buy a
People like travel.
Lamborghini or a hairnet right off the bat or anything like that.
Well, I mean, a McLaren wouldn't hurt, but like, I think I would probably charter the plane first, and then McLaren comes later.
I thought you said a bikini. Somebody must have been talking over top of you, and I heard that. Sorry, you said a Lamborghini.
No, Lamborghini or hairnet. Yeah,
right. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then he went McLaren.
Right.
Which is right.
Yeah, guys, what do you think?
I think I'd take one of those water jetpacks that you see like in those ads where they're flying around and going underwater and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'd own one of those, take it for a spin.
Okay, sounds good.
I think yacht.
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 Yeah. Up to your gala.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll be flying
Yacht,
beside
I think
you.
is the most pretentious purchase you can make as a rich guy. Right?
I figure if you've got the money, why not just like
You
live
and
the
Mark
life?
Cuban can start playing squash.
Yeah. Well, a yacht with a squash court
Yeah,
on
of
it,
course.
right?
I mean, I'll take my helicopter.
What's the point otherwise?
Yeah, I know. Not even buy a yacht.
Your yacht doesn't have a squash court? Oh, I'm so sorry.
There's not enough squash references these days.
There have got to be rich guys out there that have the "my yacht is better than your yacht" conversation.
Absolutely.
And the rest of us just dream about killing those people.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway,
Sleeping on their yachts.
That's right. Is it my turn now?
Yep.
All right. my question is, I am secretly terrified of what?
I have a strong aversion to the praying mantis.
Okay.
People.
The female praying mantis.
Yes. Yeah. Not the.
They do look creepy.
Tiny little thing. I know.
Their arms folded up like they're ready to.
And I have a strong image when I was in like grade 2 or something. I had a big pop-out book with a praying mantis that jumped up, and I read that they eat their husbands like corns of cob or like a cob of corn. And
right.
I resolved to try to never let that into my life.
I bet you if we did a survey, there would be tons of people who said my childhood fears were created by reading a book about insects.
Yeah.
Like I've heard that story from several people actually.
Pop up or scratch and sniff?
The scratch and sniff insect book I'm afraid of. Yeah, absolutely. What about you guys?
Well, I'm not afraid of that, but
you're not afraid of Graham?
No, not Graham. No, the corn, man, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
If I had to, one thing that always scares me is if I go out to my car at night and I come back and for some reason my front door is open.
Right.
I always end up walking around the house with a knife for like 5 minutes just in case. That every time. I watched an episode of Criminal Minds and it made me perpetually terrified of that.
Sweeping rooms, check. This one's clear, check.
Closing doors, locking them off, making sure.
Yep.
But if you found a dude, would you actually like knife?
I'd probably drop the knife and run away.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, we live together, so I'm wondering if you've come by my room at night with a knife and I just never knew it.
Usually it only happens when like no one else is home.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Apparently I'm really bad at closing doors, so
fair enough.
at least that's been my experience.
I
so
don't
far.
have an app or a startup for you there, man. I apologize.
Yeah.
We haven't spoken to the
work
Close
on
the
that.
Door app yet.
I think it's just called like
Common sense.
Close the door. Yeah.
So I lack that.
Do you have problems closing doors? We got the app for you.
We have a solution for you.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh man, I think I'm secretly terrified of. I would say. Geez, this is a hard one.
Is it too hard to narrow down the sheer
I'm
number?
I'm not a big fan of hugs. So
hugs? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit terrified of like maybe someone like sneak hugging me. That's happened a couple times, and I'm a little bit scared of it.
Yeah, sure.
Because you like an ambush hug to really set your day off wrong.
It depends who's doing the hugging. If
Scientist,
it's a weirdo,
it's a
absolutely.
scientist in lab coat.
Yeah. There's been a decent number of weirdo
Yeah.
I don't know what you call them,
socially maladjusted individuals.
I was talking about the hugs, but yes, also the people.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
I don't want to be hugged by a rugby player like that, but a scientist, it's different. Like it's
in a lab coat. They have to wear a lab coat.
Yeah.
A scientist with a lab coat is basically a scientist at all. Yeah.
What do you guys wear? Well, forget it. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
So here's my final question for you guys.
Go for it.
Why are you guys going to be successful? Speaking of things you're terrified of.
Well, I honestly think we're going to be successful just because of the people. I think we work really well together, and I think we also have, I think one of our strengths is being able to identify our weaknesses, ironically enough, I guess. I think we all talk quite a bit about what we are not good at and sort of the holes in our technology and trying to design for that. And I honestly think that's something that sometimes lacks in some companies or some ideas is they don't focus. Well, maybe this could also be me just being a pessimist, but they don't focus enough on the potential flaws or their weaknesses, and so that can kind of get lost on people.
But that's such a dichotomy, right? To have to be your own cheerleader of your own thing, but at the same time be like, where am I weak and what am I?
You got to have that sober vision of yourself.
You do.
Right?
Yeah, it's hard.
I went to a talk once. I forget his name. I should know it actually. He was a really famous Silicon Valley investor, and he was saying that he had a dual personality when he was doing a startup. So he would have this incredibly confident persona that he would have when he's talking to investors or potential customers. But it was a ruse. Like no one is ever going to be that confident in anything. And so then he would have his normal person who would think about things critically and actually do the business.
See the flaws and need to fix.
Which is an interesting take on it.
Yeah, if you can pull off false bravado well, then it's quite a talent.
Exactly.
Most people, it's pretty obvious that you're just blowing wind.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Bonus questions?
Bonus question. Our bonus question, as always, is toilet paper, fold or scrunch?
Fold, no question.
Fold.
Yeah.
The nanotechnologists enjoy the fold. Sorry, Steven. We've had a big, long streak of folders here.
That's the problem. That's why I'm a scruncher. No streaking. I'm going to have to go to the audience. Elliot, are you a folder or a scruncher?
Fold over here, too. Yeah, we should have asked the people walking through the houses.
That's true.
We could have collected more data, but
I'm not going to ask my father-in-law how he.
That's just an image you don't want to have in your head.
I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm going to assume that Ralph is a scruncher.
You guys can have that conversation in private as you drive home with it. Excellent. Well, listen, guys, I think it's time to wrap things up here. Before we do, can we find you guys online? Do you have a website or anything yet?
Yep. We're at Arylla.com, Arylla. From there, you can find our Twitter, our Facebook, our LinkedIn page.
Awesome.
Find out information.
We'll throw out some links to those destinations when we post the podcast, so our listeners can find you too. Great. Well, thank you very much, guys, for coming on the podcast today. It's been great having you.
Thank you.
And I think you guys have so much potential. I'm really looking forward to seeing where things go. So that's awesome.
Yep, love talking to people that are smarter than us.
That's right.
Not hard to find these days, but
they're everywhere.
That's true. Lots of stuff happening here. So how can people give us feedback and send us videos and audio things for these awesome Rotary Dream Home tickets?
The best way to do it is to record some video on your cell phone of you talking about what you like best about the podcast and what you think we can improve. Upload it to YouTube. It's pretty easy to do. It happens all the time. Lots of people do it. If you don't know how, there are tutorials on how to do that.
Go to YouTube for a tutorial on how to upload it to YouTube.
That's right. Upload it to YouTube and send us the link. You can contact us at our email address, which is feedback@tspweekly.com. Or you can send us a message on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @TSP Weekly. Before we go, we also want to give a big thanks to Elliot and to the Rotary crew who have very generously allowed us to record in their wonderful space here. I think, are we recording here again?
We're open to.
I think you just invited yourself.
Oh, there we go. So we may be here again, and you might... who knows who will wander through the podcast.
So if you want to get some more information about it, KC Rotary Events.
That's right.
.ca.
And please send us some feedback videos. We'd love to give those tickets away. I think we're legally required to give them away. We're not allowed to keep them for ourselves. So somebody.
Yep. And they have to go by, I guess, November the 29th.
That's right. So send your stuff fast. Have we said everything? I think that's it.
Yeah.
So for myself, Darren Conley,
and myself, Stephen Campbell.
Yep. And from our guests, Perry Everett, Graham Thomas, and Ben Rasera.
Rasera. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I had to screw one of them up. Rasera from Arylla. Thank you very much for joining us here today, and we'll see you all again next week.